So here is Anthony.
Anthony of Football Club Group. What's up, man? It's not on the speaker. Un momento, please.
Yeah, let me turn this up.
All right, brother, you're coming through fine now. We got you.
Hey, good to talk to you guys. How are you? How you guys doing?
Good. So you're this is Anthony Fiume with Football Club Group. I just joined the podcast here. So Anthony is, I don't know, did you start the project here?
Yeah, and I also appreciate how you said my last name correctly too. It's a true Calcio podcast. Say Fiume like that.
I'm trying. It means river, right? It means river, right?
Yes, it means river, exactly. And there was a few of us that co-founded the project, but I am one of the original co-founders. Yep, and current president of Football Club Group.
Hey, one moment. How do you say Cagliari?
How do wait, Cagliari?
Cagliari. Yeah,
Okay.
listen to that.
Cagliari. All right.
All right, thank you.
Definitely.
Yeah, so if you want to get into your brief overview of what your project is and what your vision and ambition is with this.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks. We at Football Club Group, we're a group of football fans, right? Soccer, calcio, football, whatever you want to call it, right? We don't care actually what you call it. We're called Football Club Group, and we're a cooperative based in the United States, and we're trying to buy a football club together, plain and simple, right? But what we are is a member-owned organization, and so we believe that football clubs should be owned by the fans. We're tired of billionaires kind of buying up our clubs and using them as their playthings, or sometimes just to wash their money or their image. And so we've seen it countless times at every tier of football, up to the highest tier now, where it's kind of been taken over by people who don't necessarily care that much about the club or the community around the club. And so we looked at models that already exist, right? Member-owned models exist in Barcelona, Madrid, the entire German football league. And so what we said is, why don't we replicate that model? We found the cooperative model to do so. We're throwing in $100 a person, and we all own an equal share on our fundraise now to raise $5 million is the goal, up to $5 million, to buy a club in the lower leagues of Italy, Spain, or England.
So what is it? So you mentioned Germany, and that's a top 4 league, but you don't have them included, but you have England, Spain, and Italy. What sets those three different? Why are you looking at those 3 markets?
Yeah, that is a great question. So I'll lead with also why not Germany, of course, because Germany, they have an extra addition to their rule. Their 50+1 rule means that 51%, almost 50 plus small percent has to be owned majority by the members, and those members, the actual member organization needs to be localized, right? And so that's the beauty of the German league, is that those members have to come from that area. And then Italy, Spain, or England are the 2 choices because, as you mentioned, right, top 4. What our ultimate goal is to try to one day play in the Champions League, right? And if we're starting in the lower leagues, it may be 10, 20 years from now that our club makes it to the Champions League. But when we did an analysis of the different leagues in Europe that would allow us to get to UEFA Champions League, these 3 countries have the most potential upside and the best infrastructure right now in the current system to hopefully then get us up to the Champions League.
Sure. Is there a better bang for your buck? Like England, I know I've traveled. England's, I would assume, is more expensive, and then even so with Spain, maybe a little bit more expensive than Italy. Is Italy the best bang for your buck as far as what club you can purchase?
Yeah, well, as far as bang for your buck and affordability of the clubs, you would definitely find Italy and Spain are more affordable than England. There is so much money going into, it's funny. I actually did a whole webinar for our members on the pros and cons of each of these countries, and why they made the choice of them. And so one of the cons and pros of England, right, is that so much money is getting pumped into those leagues, and so we're competing with all of the billionaires and millionaires, even down to the fourth and fifth division where those clubs are getting bought up. And so those prices and valuations are so much more inflated than those in Italy and Spain. And so affordability is there too, but then there's obviously positives to the attraction of, when it comes to sponsorship deals and things like that, to the amount of money that's getting pumped into England. So as far as bang for your buck, Italy and Spain might get something, a higher club for a little less money. And that's what kind of, gives them a little bit of an advantage over England if we're talking about affordability.
Sure. Yeah. So you're based in Italy, is that correct?
Yeah, so I am based between New York and Italy.
Okay.
So I am born and raised in New York, but my parents are Italian immigrants. And so I recently, with my brothers, bought a house out here in my mom's hometown. And so I've been going back and forth. I work remotely. I still work for full time. I work for a nonprofit in New York. And so I've been able to be boots on the ground, though, here in Europe and, going back between, Italy and UK so far to look at some clubs and find some things, out here. But so also in New York, though, as well.
What town are you based in Italy?
So the town is called Volturara Irpina. It is a village of about 3,000 people, 40 minutes outside of Napoli.
Okay.
So since it is a Calcio podcast, you can guess who my favorite club is. As far as Serie A goes, I'm a Napoli fan to the day I die.
It should be a little bit cheaper down south too, right? As far as the clubs go, is that where you're looking? Is there a certain region in Italy that you are looking?
Well, we're open to, of course, what we're looking for is the best club that gives us the best opportunity to go forward.
Okay.
Has also made the most impact.
Sure.
So one thing, obviously, proximity-wise, it's been easier for me since I am not, a multimillionaire, billionaire that, looking for a club as some of these others. Me being boots on the ground in the Campania region has allowed me to go out and explore some clubs around here.
Sure.
Now, as you said, affordability-wise, of course, in southern Italy, you're going to be able to find clubs that are, looking to grow and whatnot as well. Whereas the north is where, you've seen the recent investments with Como, and, there's a lot more attraction to some, investors to these northern clubs. But being down here in Campania, going down to, games as low as the 8th and 9th division, like the energy at those games when there's 300 people in the crowd even is, I go to the Napoli games too, and it's comparable.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
The competition's a little different, but it's still entertaining. It's unbelievable, the energy around Calcio here in Italy.
So the fundraising goal is 5 million, and I was on your website a lot, and you have different targets of what level club you can buy with the different amounts of money you could raise. And, you mentioned that maybe you don't spend, like if you don't get all 5 million, maybe you only buy, instead of buying 100% of the club, just buying the controlling 50+1 that you mentioned earlier. Is there a level of, I believe you also mentioned Serie A and D, that third and fourth division is kind of the target. Is that about right?
Yeah, so exactly. All of what you just said is awesome, and I appreciate you doing that homework on us too, and that's really, really great to hear. So if Serie C and D would be the ultimate goal, right? And if we reach the $5 million raise, what that would mean is we would spend around $2.5 million to buy the club. Because we're not a millionaire that has extra money in the bank afterwards. What we would need to do is pass a owner fitness test. And so we would have to show, in order to buy that club, we'd have to show, hey, not only do we have the money to buy the club, but we've also got some money in the bank one to keep the club afloat if God forbid there's recently we saw the pandemic how clubs were in jeopardy because they weren't able to bring in as much revenue, right? So you have to have reserves to be able to support the club, and then you also have to show that you're going to invest in the club, right? And so what we want to do is then have that other 2.5 million. Let's say we reach the full goal, then we'll have that other 2.5 million roughly to then invest in the club, use reserves. We also have aspirations to add a women's club to the club that we buy, and so some of that portion of those reserves would go to jump starting that initiative on day one of being owners as well. But to expand on what you said too about the checkpoints, we're also realistic in the sense that we make sure that we don't want to compromise our mission and the authenticity of the one member per share, as you said. And so we're growing organically, and we are a group of football fans. We're not necessarily a bunch of famous names, or we joke that obviously if Messi was on board, we'd probably raise the full 5 million in 20 minutes. But we want to grow organically, and if we raise $50,000 and buy a club in the eighth or ninth division of one of these, Spain or Italy, probably at that amount of money.
Sure.
And we just start our journey there, right? And we keep going up. But our goal is to reach the 5 million or anywhere in between. We've kind of done this analysis to find out, from the ninth all the way up to the third or fourth division, what sort of the price points are for different clubs.
So do you have like a time frame then? Like if say it's because you have a money goal, you have a target, and you know what kind of each level gets you, what each level of team costs, which club does with all your research you've been doing. But do you have like a time frame, like in 2 years, well, we only have 150,000, so we're going to buy this club, or do you hold on more to try to get a higher level club? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And so we definitely have set an internal deadline, and so our current, and it's actually pretty timely right now. We weren't sure how viral it would go, how quick it would go, and we wanted to give ourselves a timeline to make sure that we're getting things moving,
Sure.
and at least getting a club. And so our initial timeline right now and deadline is December 31st of 2024.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you right now, we're at $20,000 raised, right, with 152 members. And so we'll unless we go super, super viral, realistically, we're not going to reach that $5 million goal. But as a democratic organization, what we will do at our annual meeting in January, if we don't reach that goal, what we'll be doing is holding a vote. And so our members will vote on either buying a club with the amount of money that we've raised at that time, or extending our deadline another 6 months and seeing how much we raise within that time frame. And because we want to do is we don't want to, what we joke about too is like, hey, listen, if we were to spend a whole nother year, let's say we buy a club in the 7th or 8th division now, at the end of we raised $50,000 and that's all we raised. We start at the bottom. Technically, if we get promoted in the first year, we're already up, let's say into the 7th division, into the 6th division the next year, versus waiting 2 more years just to not raise the 5 million. If God forbid we didn't end up still raising the full amount, we wouldn't want to waste too many years raising. We'd rather, our whole thing and our goal is to be club owners. Would it be nice for it to be in the 3rd or 4th division?
Obviously. Yeah.
That'd be great. But especially after a bunch of us have seen a lot of this lower league play, we'd be just as happy and feel just as fulfilled if we were to buy one in the lower league.
I think it makes it more real right now too, because
December 31st, but it may get extended to June.
Sure.
Based on the vote and the will of the members.
Sure. There's 2 points there. The first, I think what that does too is if you did buy any club, at least you are a real club at this point. Like you have an established club. Right now, it's almost like you're buying into something that doesn't exist, and a lot of people might have drawbacks on that, right?
Yeah.
Might not believe it or see it or feel it. So you could continue to grow your membership as you have a club.
You just point to that.
So I think that has a strong a strong upside
you hit the nail on the head right there. That's something that's been we've been thinking about that a lot too, right? Because one point is too like who is Anthony Fiume, right?
Right.
To the world, right? I recognize that I'm a guy out here that is a passionate sports fan, but in 2024, when there's so many things that are out there, and buying into an idea of someone who you might not know yet, too, and even our other members, it's all kind of this word of mouth. We get that that's that apprehension, but then when there is a club you're buying into, we definitely see the value in that, and we have plans to do that as well to keep the membership open, and we know that we automatically are keeping the membership open because of the fact that that was already a plan, even if we raised the full money, because we wanted to allow members of the fans that are already fans of the club that we purchased to also become owners of the club as well, because that's the whole point of this as well. And so we think that'll amplify membership. And so to your point, if we end up owning a club in the 8th, 7th, 6th division, but then we end up getting another 40,000 members because of the story, and now there's a physical club to buy, then we just have that much more capital to grow that club that much faster.
Right. So the to be clear, this is not an investment. That was very clear. I've bought into like other things that are more of an investment, and you can sell your share. This is not something like that, from what I understand. You're a member, and that comes with the voting rights, so that you vote to help make the decisions that control the club. So what type of, you mentioned, do we buy a lower level one? Like, that's a decision there to be made. When the club's up and running, obviously it's not going to run as like a pure democracy to where you're making like starting lineups and things down to that level, right? It's more of like a representative democracy. Can you expand on what the membership gets you? I know that you also have an incentive for the first 1,000 members, if you want to speak to that as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think the distinction that you mentioned there too in the beginning is really is critical to our mission too. Our whole thing is that we are tired of the idea of just football being something where profits are pulled out of it in a way where you're just getting it from the club, right? Because we've seen it time and time again where even with Man U and the Glazer family and wanting to give themselves dividends when it was very clear that money needed to be going reinvested back into the club. So our mission is to perpetually reinvest the profits of the club back into the club and the community that surrounds the club, because we believe the purpose of a football club is to bring joy to the fans and the community, as well as we see, be a way of economically uplifting a community as well. So we believe, and right now, me as one of the co-founders and president, I own an equal share as everybody else, and I'll continue to pay my annual member dues to continue to be on this adventure and to bring this club up. Now, to the decision-making side of things, as you said, you hit the nail on the head there too. Of course, not even I, the president of FCG, will be deciding the lineup, of who plays. That'll be the job of the sporting director, and the manager and those folks who, are the football pros that get hired or are already on those of the club. If we as an organization decide to keep those folks, right?
Sure.
And so the biggest things, obviously, these are the rights of the members are to elect the board and oversee the board of directors. And so the board of directors, instead of the board reporting to one billionaire, they are reporting to the collective membership. And so in addition to electing them, if they decide that they're not on the path and enough members get together, they can, change the board and call for an election. In the same light, the annual budget at the end and major expenses. That is all the direction of those are the legal, requirements where the members 100% get those things. Then in addition to that, the ethos of it, just like this deadline where it wasn't necessarily a legal requirement in a cooperative for that. Our ethos is always having the members at hand when it comes to something that is the overall direction of the club. is putting that to a vote to the members. When it comes to the things that, since we're all on this, not to make money and to participate, it'll be also things like stadium development. When it's not just the fun stuff like jerseys and design and ideas for new revenue streams. But it is that also, right? Like, so it'll be the fun side of it as well as very real decisions about ways to drive the success of the organization.
That's great. That's great. I know we only had you on for 15, so I didn't want to hold you too long, but I could talk with excites me so much. I could talk about this forever. So I don't want to keep you too much longer past your time.
And that covered all my
I think
questions.
you guys cut out. There's something up with the mic. I'm not hearing you.
Oh, sorry about that. Can you hear me? Am I a little bit closer?
I hear you quite low. I'm not sure.
Okay. I think, anyways, I think we've gotten all of our questions answered. The volume.
Awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate your time. We only had you on for 15 minutes. I was already talking to my brother here that my betting has been going pretty good on my soccer bet. Yeah. So I took the 100 out already. Wanted to talk with you first, but I will be becoming a member. So I don't know if I'll be 153 if I hurry up and jump on. But I will be doing that. So I'm excited. You've won me over. You've answered my questions.
I'm not sure how well he can hear us, but thank you.
And even if it's in Spain, I want you to push into Italy.
Oh, yeah.
We want Italy because we are an Italian podcast. Please. But
the competition will be harder, but it's worth it.
Incredible, yeah, incredible. I definitely, Italy would be lovely. We have a lot of member owners already here in Italy. We're in 7 different countries. We have owners in 7 different countries around the world. The first 1,000 members get to be visionaries. So definitely looking forward to, having you guys, join the journey too. And yeah, man, thank you both for having me on. And cheers to Calcio.
And just send people to your X account, right? And the football club group website.
The website, yeah. The website's got a lot of information on it. He clips the show. We'll clip this out for you.
Certainly, yeah.
And below we'll tag below his X profile, and we'll put a link to the website for people that are interested, because I mean,
we got to get this out there.
Yeah, this is awesome.
And stay out of England.
Well, thanks, Anthony. Thank you for your time.
We might have lost him anyway. Something came up. This caller's not in your contacts.
Okay. Well, that was great. Like we said, thanks to Anthony for that. He did stay on a little bit long for us. So we do want to thank him for that. Going to be hard to transition back to the Inter Milan game.
Who's that?
Inter Milan, because we're going to have a club. We're going to be a part of a club. Anyway, it is exciting.
Yeah, we're coming, Inter. Look out.
Yeah. Well, we have been wanting a club to be that was ours, the one to root for. And again, he mentions that Napoli is his first Serie A club. That's his team.
Hey, lost you guys there at the end and couldn't hear, but hopefully my last note was okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on the pod.
Yeah.
Yep. I just don't want to call it a podcast. It's a video. It's an episode.
Whatever.
It's a show.
We don't know what we are. We're just starting now. We're figuring this out. Anyway.
That was great.
Yeah, I'm excited. We'll link, like I said, we'll link below. Back into the Serie A, Inter versus Roma. Roma is corporate owned. They are making decisions.
He's even offering to call back. What a
no, he's good. Yeah.